The Doom universe is a relentless abyss of unimaginable torment, where suffering is not just an inevitability but a fundamental aspect of existence. Across Urdak, Hell, and the earthly realms, countless souls endure grotesque and twisted fates. While Hell itself is a place of unspeakable horror, it is merely the beginning. There are fates far worse than damnation. In this universe of demons, marauders, lakes of fire, and eviscerated corpses, a single misstep leads to a world of pain. Anything is possible, and anyone can become a victim in this collection of awful existences. But what makes one fate worse than another? Is it the physical agony, the psychological torment, or the irreversible loss of identity? The answer varies depending on one's fears. For some, isolation is the ultimate horror. For others, it's the slow erosion of self. This script delves into the worst possible fates in the Doom universe, ranked by severity, exploring the depths of suffering inflicted upon its victims. We begin with the origins of the zombies in Doom 3*, a fate that exemplifies body horror and the loss of autonomy. When the Union Aerospace Corporation rediscovered the Martian slipgate technology, Drive, Malcolm Betruger spearheaded experiments to harness its power. Volunteers were lured with promises of credits, unaware of the horrors awaiting them. The teleporters broke them down at a quantum level, reassembling them after exposure to Hell's corrupting energies. The effects were gradual but irreversible. Jonathan Wills, one such volunteer, was admitted to exam room 5 on November 2, 2145, complaining of insomnia and nausea. Initially calm, he soon grew violently aggressive, attacking Drive, Kaysen with a scalpel. The infection was rewriting him, but Jonathan was still conscious, trapped inside a body that was no longer his. Over days, his flesh rotted, his eyes clouded, and his mind fractured. The medical staff watched as more victims succumbed, their bodies decaying while their minds remained aware. This fate is terrifying because the victims are prisoners in their own flesh, forced to witness their transformation into mindless husks. The Night Sentinels of Argent Denor met a tragic end, one defined by betrayal and futility. These warriors, sworn to protect their world, discovered that their gods, the Makers, had conspired with Hell. A civil war erupted, and in desperation, the Sentinels sought the aid of the old gods. But they were deceived by the Argenta priests, who led them into a trap. As they stepped through the portal to Hell, they found themselves surrounded, scattered, and devoured. The physical torment was horrific. Demons do not grant quick deaths, but the psychological toll was worse. Each warrior died knowing their world was defenseless, their trust broken, and their sacrifice meaningless. Worse still, their souls were harvested, transformed into argent energy to fuel the very war they sought to end. Few fates in Doom are as symbolically devastating as the death of Daisy, the Doom Slayer's pet rabbit. Her decapitated head, impaled on a spike, represents the loss of innocence and humanity. For the Slayer, her death was a breaking point, fueling his endless rage. While not as prolonged as other torments, the brutality of her demise, and the fact that it was deliberate, makes it uniquely cruel. Animals, often innocent bystanders in horror, evoke a visceral reaction, and Daisy's fate lingers as a reminder of Hell's indiscriminate malice. Dr. Olivia Pierce's downfall is a slow, agonizing descent into damnation. A brilliant scientist, her exposure to Hell's artifacts twisted her body and mind. Diagnosed with idiopathic scoliosis, she endured constant pain until she underwent a gruesome procedure, a titanium exoskeleton grafted to her spine. The surgery was excruciating, and her refusal of painkillers, to keep her mind sharp, made it worse. Hell exploited her suffering, offering false promises of power. In the end, she was merged with the spider mastermind, her consciousness consumed. Olivia's fate is tragic because she was manipulated at her weakest, her intellect and resilience turned against her. The creation of a revenant is one of the most brutal fates in Doom*. UAC soldiers, lured into the revenant program, were strapped down and mutilated while fully conscious. Rocket launchers were fused to their shoulders, and a neural biochip was implanted in their brain. Then came the Lazarus waves, Hell energy that warped their bones, stretching them to monstrous proportions. Skin split, organs failed, and yet they lived, feeling every second of their transformation into 9-foot-tall abominations. The Revenant is a perversion of science and suffering, a weapon forged from human agony. Necravel's soul factory is Hell's industrialized nightmare. Souls judged worthy by Kalibas were processed into argent energy, their torment accelerated by Maker technology. The Avulsor ripped their shattered essences from their bodies, leaving hollow husks to mutate into demons. This fate is systematic, reducing humans to mere ingredients. But for those deemed unworthy, the blood swamps awaited, a burning sludge where discarded souls languished, conscious but immobile, for eternity. The swamps are worse than the factory because there is no end, no purpose, just endless, meaningless suffering. The worst fate, however, belongs to the Doom Slayer himself. After fighting through hell to save Earth, he returned to find his family slaughtered. His wife, child, and Daisy were dead, their souls likely dragged into hell. The psychological devastation of this moment, realizing his struggle was for nothing, eclipses even physical torment. Loss of hope is the ultimate horror, and the Slayer's grief fuels his eternal war. The Doom universe is a tapestry of suffering, each fate worse than the last. Whether through bodily mutilation, psychological torture, or existential despair, its victims endure horrors beyond comprehension. With Doom, the Dark Age is on the horizon, new nightmares await, promising deeper dives into this unforgiving world.